All right, everybody, ready to dive into Rich Dad, Poor Dad?
Let's do it. I'm excited to break this one down.
Me too. This book's been huge EE for forever, right? But today we're going deeper than just the surface level stuff.
Definitely. We're talking about the mindset shifts, the long game, not just get-rich-quick schemes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad is about building a whole new way of thinking about money and wealth.
Totally. And it all starts with understanding those two dads.
Right. The famous
Right.
Rich Dad versus Poor Dad. So can you walk us through that a little? Like, what are their core philosophies? What makes them so different?
Yeah, so you got Rich Dad. He's the entrepreneur, the risk taker. He's all about spotting opportunities and building assets that generate income.
He's the guy who's always hustling, finding ways to make his money work for him.
Exactly. And then you've got Poor Dad, who represents that more traditional path. Work hard, get a good job, save your money.
The play it safe approach.
Yeah. And the book really highlights how these different mindsets impact their lives.
It's like they're playing two different games almost.
Sure. Right. And one of the biggest differences is how they view assets and liabilities.
Ooh, yeah. This is where it gets juicy. And actually, I've got a confession. I think I might be guilty of a little liability love myself.
Oh. Do tell.
Okay, so subscription boxes, anyone else out there obsessed? But seriously, those monthly charges add up. It makes you wonder how many other little luxuries are secretly draining our bank accounts.
It's so easy to fall into those traps, but that's exactly what Rich Dad, Poor Dad wants us to be aware of. So let's break it down. An asset is something that puts money in your pocket.
Like rental properties, stocks that pay dividends.
Exactly. While a liability takes money out.
Things like car loans, credit card debt, even that fancy new gadget you had to have.
Yep. And what's interesting is that Rich Dad, Poor Dad challenges us to look at our spending habits and ask, is this an asset or a liability? It's a simple question, but it can really shift your perspective.
It's like shining a spotlight on where your money is actually going. Makes you think twice before impulsively buying that, whatever it is you're eyeing.
Right, because that's what it's all about, being conscious and intentional with your finances.
Speaking of being intentional, one of the biggest takeaways for me was this whole idea of financial education. I mean, why wasn't there a class in school called How to Be Rich 101?
Right. The book really emphasizes how traditional education often neglects financial literacy.
It's like we're thrown out into the world without a clue about how money really works.
Exactly. But Rich Dad, Poor Dad encourages us to take control of our own financial education.
So how do we do that? Where do we even start?
There are so many options now. There's a ton of great books, online courses, podcasts, even financial advisors who can help you create a personalized plan.
It's about being proactive and finding resources that resonate with you.
Yes. And it's also about identifying your knowledge gaps. Like, what are the areas where you feel a little shaky? Maybe it's investing or understanding real estate.
Maybe it's something as simple as creating a budget that actually works.
Whatever it is, the key is to be willing to learn and grow. Totally. And you know what else really stuck with me? The idea of work to learn, not to earn. It's like, instead of just grinding away for a paycheck, you're viewing your job as an opportunity to level up your skills.
Exactly. It's almost like gaining experience points in a video game, like you were saying.
Exactly. You're constantly building your skill set, which can open up new doors and opportunities down the line.
Makes you think about your current job or even your dream career in a whole new way. Like, what skills do you need to master to get to where you want to be?
Right. Maybe it's learning to code or becoming a public speaking pro or even mastering a new software.
It's all about investing in yourself. And you know, Rich Dad, Poor Dad also talks a lot about the power of entrepreneurship.
Absolutely. It's about creating your own opportunities, building something from the ground up.
Remember that lemonade stand example in the book?
Yes. It's such a classic. It might seem small, but it perfectly illustrates the entrepreneurial spirit. Finding a need, creating a solution, and building a business around it.
It makes starting your own thing feel a little less intimidating, you know?
For sure. And I think the book does a great job of demystifying entrepreneurship. It's not just about coming up with some brilliant, never-before-seen idea.
Right. It's about taking action, being resourceful, and willing to learn as you go.
Exactly.
And, you know, speaking of learning as you go, I've got a story about taking a leap of faith. A few years back, I decided to start my own business. It was scary. I definitely had those moments of, what am I doing?
I bet. It's a big jump to make.
It was. But I had this amazing mentor who had already been there, done that.
Ah, mentors, they're like secret weapons.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Having someone who could guide me through those challenges made all the difference.
That's a perfect example of why Rich Dad, Poor Dad stresses the importance of finding mentors.
People who have achieved what you aspire to and who can offer advice and support.
Exactly. So as you're listening to this, think about your own network. Who are those people you admire who could potentially be mentors for you?
It's about surrounding yourself with people who inspire and challenge you to grow. So as we wrap up our deep dive into Rich Dad, Poor Dad, what are those key nuggets of wisdom we should all walk away with?
Well, I think the biggest one is to challenge those conventional ideas about money. It's not just about working hard and saving every penny. It's about building assets, understanding cash flow, and always being willing to learn.
It's about taking control of your finances and creating the life you want.
Exactly.
And as we finish up today, I want to leave you with this question. Imagine you could design your ideal How to Be Rich curriculum. What would be those top 3 can't-miss lessons you'd include? Keep that in mind as you continue your own financial journey. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
It's been awesome. All right, until next time.